Hey guys, my name's Josh and welcome to my video. This is the first part in a who knows how many parts series that'll be covering my attempt at doing an Everesting on my bike. So let's just jump straight into it. The first immediate question is probably, what is an Everesting? And an Everesting can be done on a bike, you can do it walking, you can do it virtually as well. But an Everesting is essentially climbing the equivalent elevation of Mount Everest in a single event. So for example, the cycling variation of that is you pick a hill, any hill you want, but you just need to ride that particular hill up and down until you have climbed the equivalent elevation of Mount Everest, which is 8,848 meters or just over 29,000 feet. There are a couple of rules that go with, Everesting to make it a bit more technical and of course to keep it nice and standardized. It has to be just one hill. You just have to pick literally one hill, just going up and down the same hill for the entire time. It has to be done in one activity and you can take as long as you want. You can't sleep. You can have as many breaks as you want. And of course it has to be recorded. So you can submit it to be approved. And then once it is approved, you get your name in the Hall of Fame on the Everesting website, which is, pretty freaking cool to do that. That's pretty much the basics of an Everesting. Like I said, you can do it on a bike. You can do it walking. People have climbed just physically walking, whether it's climbing stairs in a building on your feet, or you can do it virtually as well on platforms like Zwift, for example. A lot of people have done on Zwift where they've climbed up and down a hill. Of course, in Zwift, you can just stop pedaling and literally let the bike just roll down the hill. Whereas if you do in the real world, you physically need to ride the bike down the hill every single time. So I guess your first question after what is an Everesting would be, why would someone want to do an Everesting? And that's a good question, because even I people asking me like, why'd you do it? Why did you try and do that? Why would you even think of doing that? It doesn't seem like a fun thing to do. A lot of people that don't really understand what an Everesting was, they'd be like, oh, so was it like a competition where you like out there with other people? And I was like, no, it was just for me. Like I just did it for myself. As you'll see, I had a lot of support on the day, and that made it like honestly a huge difference on the day itself, because it just made it much more enjoyable. But it was an individual thing. I guess the main reason for wanting to do it was that you can, and kind of hitting that whole like, why not in a challenge sort of way, when it's just some crazy stuff that you just want to do yourself, so you can say, oh yeah, I did that. Like for example, Europe trip going on years and years, like we're talking 12 years ago now almost. I went to the running of the bulls. I can say I have run with the bulls. It may have been for a matter of seconds, and I may have just spent most of the time cowarding. It may have been for a few seconds, but I can at least say I was there, even though most of the time was spent just sort of on the side of the road waiting for the bulls to run past and then running behind the bulls. But it was still an experience. And I say, I've done it, ticked it off, boom, done. That's sort of the same thing with this. I guess my motivation for why, and well, not necessarily why, but when I did my Everesting was actually pretty simple. This year, I turned 31, so I am 31 now. But on the very 1st of January, 2023, I went for a bike ride. I was still 30 years old because my birthday is 21st of Feb. Went for a bike ride, rode up a hill, which happened to be the hill that I was going to do my Everesting on. Got to the top and was like, cool, let's commit to this. Let's actually put something down, not in paper because who uses paper, but let's put something digitally down in paper, in a sense. So I got my phone out, filmed a story, just a little story, here's the hill, doing some recon, and then I put the hashtag of Everest at 30, because I sort of went, let's, to be honest, I did a lot in my year of 30, proposing to my partner, getting engaged because she said yes, buying our first house, other things as well. Yeah, other things. But, some big key life things in the year. So I was like, let's just tack something onto it. So I put that out there, 1st of Jan, literally with almost 2 months to actually get it done. And then sort of didn't really do anything from there. Literally didn't really do anything. And then all of a sudden I sort of started looking at some events, started getting, a bit more involved in cycling races. And I was like, okay, cool. birthday's here. I've got this race here, this tour is the weekend after my birthday. Okay, crap. If I'm going to stick to this, I need to do this now. So just put a date to it. Went, okay, cool. 18th of Feb, literally the weekend before my birthday. Birthday was on a Tuesday. The weekend before, I was like, that's what it's going to be. I was actually going to do the 19th, the Sunday, but we had a little family event pop up. So I was like, okay, cool. Saturday it is. Let's do the Saturday. And ultimately, it was a great choice doing the Saturday. But 18th of Saturday, 18th of February, the Saturday. That was it. That was going to be my Everesting time. So yeah, that's pretty much all about the why and the when. I guess really just probably just get stuck straight into it. This is going to be at least 2 videos just covering the actual physical day itself. I'll try to go into detail about, like nutrition, mindset, pacing, how I was feeling, why that hill, all those sort of things throughout this video. But I'll also do some extra videos afterwards going way more in depth about my bike, the equipment that I have, especially the nutrition side of things, because that is a big thing when you're talking about a massive ride. I mean, to just put it out there, an absolute spoiler alert, I did it and then some. Ended up being a 15-hour day on the bike, like 15-hour total time. Yeah, total time, elapsed time in total, which is pretty mental. So yeah. Without further ado, let's just jump straight into it, and let's just hit. Here's like literally. So I took my GoPro out with me. I tried to film as much as I could. Of course, I had much bigger fish to fry on the actual day than filming the actual event. But I had the GoPro on me on the bike or in my pocket the entire time, and just tried to film anything I could. I definitely missed some key moments, and I'll try to fill the gaps with this. But let's jump straight into it. This is the first time filming. This is me literally going up for my first repeat. At what time did I start? I started at literally 5:02. I took a story right at the bottom of the hill, put that out there. I had just really shitty internet connection where I was, or the actual hill. So most of my stories didn't post until I realized they weren't posting, so people weren't really getting updated during the day. But I did a story at 5:02, I'm pretty sure 5:02 a.m, me at the bottom, literally about to go my first roll up. So this is the first clip of me, talking to the camera, going up the hill. Enjoy. All right. Where do we begin? First time going up the hill. First repeat of 41. Played safe, and there's a car. 5 a.m. on the dot. There's a car. This is my view while the sun is down. Yeah, it is a lot darker than I thought it would be. A lot darker. It's actually pretty eerie, to be honest. This is the flat section where I'll be moving the car to later in the morning once the sun rises and there's more people around. Just thought it'd be safer to leave it further down the street in the meantime. Anyway, I might turn my light on to be a little bit brighter just so I can see what's going on. Yeah, hearing some noises in the bushes, a bit concerning. I'll be fine, I'm sure. Alright. So yeah, you can kind of tell that I was kind of crapping myself a little bit. I think just straight away, the magnitude of what I was doing, that was literally my first repeat, my first time riding up the hill of the day, pitch black. It was so dark. I did not realize the first section of the hill had like, it was in like, you know, houses and streets, there were street lights. The second half was nothing. It was so dark, and it was quite daunting. I think just the simple way to put it, the weight of the idea and the event hit me, and I was a little bit like, what am I doing here? What am I about to get myself into? Yeah, that pretty much sums up the emotions right then and there, as you could imagine.
All right. Whew. We're on repeat number 5. We've ticked over an hour. This will tick us, just ticked over our first 1,000 of elevation. I've had Waz here with me for the past 3 repeats, absolutely smashing it out, but most importantly, holding me to a nice steady pace. That's probably the biggest thing. And now we got Ryan. Ryan's joined us, first repeat. Whew. And as you can see, we have some light coming over the hills. This is the best part about it though. Is that view?
Oh yeah.
That's nice.
You won't get sick of that view.
Yeah. Whew. First 1,000. Done.
All right, so as you would have just seen, just over an hour done. We hit 1,000 meters already, feeling so much better, completely different change in my energy. This obviously is the descent. Just wanted to show you guys, this was the last descent before the sun really well and truly rose up into the sky. It was amazing. Like, the road surface had been redone. I'm not sure when, but recently enough that it was so smooth. It was perfect. You're coming down the hill, you got this awesome view of Adelaide. You come to this hairpin. This hairpin is so tight. You need to brake so much coming into that hairpin. Back onto it, literally, I did not pedal the entire descent. That was the best thing about it. It took me anywhere between 2.5 minutes to just over 3 minutes any of the descents on the way down. Couple of hairy corners that you just gotta be careful of. Thankfully, never had any incidents with cars on the other side of the road, thankfully. But yeah, it was perfect. And I'll get more into the hill and the segment that I chose later on, but it really was perfect. So yeah, just gotta put it straight out there. Waz, who joined me, like literally, I did 2 repeats by myself. And then when I was about to go on the way down to my second one, Waz was right there. Waz is he is part of the team that I'm in, the cycling team, PMA Guest Picks team. He was just literally there. I didn't even know he was going to come out, and he was like my freaking Everesting sensei. He just was like, you know, let's keep a nice steady pace. Let's keep it nice and consistent. You know, you got to think about what it's going to feel like in 12 hours time. Let's not push any hard. Let's bring the pace back a little bit. Let's go a little bit slower. Really just take our time, tick the legs over. This is what I mean with the suburban sort of street section here, you can see. Yeah, huge shout out to Waz for coming out, because he really just sort of, I mean, he was the first person to come out, which was silly early. And yeah, he was just there from the get-go, and it was amazing to have him there. And then, of course, Ryan coming out. I knew Ryan was going to come out. Same thing, I didn't realize how early he was going to come out as well. Coming out, so it was great to have those 2 guys coming out to be there straight away. So complete change in mood, feeling 1,000 times more positive. And I'd already had like 5 repeats done and ticked over 1,000 meters already on my Garmin, which was, you know, huge. And then yeah, here's the end of it. You're going to come all the way to the end. Had someone else waiting to join us as well. That was Luke, I'm pretty sure. And then yeah, chucking a Yui there. Always made sure I went just around the bottom, and then boom, right back onto it again. It's just, that was my view every time. Come down there, chuck a Yui, and then turn around and then make our way back up the hill again, because that's the start, and just boom, back into it, nice and comfortable, down to the gears, and just start ticking along, ready for that next repeat up.
All right, update on repeat number 8. Yep, sun is up. Lovely weather, like lovely. What had happened? So had Luke from PMA Guest Picks team join Waz, and they've continued on for their ride. Had Dirk from Bike Society come join me and Ryan for a repeat. They've headed down to the shop to see if anyone comes along for their shop ride. And yeah, just had Dave, Mr. Head of PMA Guest Picks team, just drove past me in the van. So he'll be back up here soon, I think, with a bit of a crew. Should be awesome. How am I feeling? Good. Yeah, good. Just ticking along, really. Heart rate's a little bit high now because I'm trying to talk on a fairly steep bit. I don't know why I keep choosing this section, but keeping the heart rate in the 140s the whole way up. Trying to average around 13 to 14 minute efforts up. Yeah, going good. Almost at that quarter, almost at number 10. I think that's just going to be a big milestone. Check in then. All right, update, status report. The sun is out, it's glorious. We are on rep number 12. Rep number 10 is done. 11 done. Finished number 10. Had a bit of a break. Stopped at the car. Filled up water bottles. Did a bit of stretching. Had some more food. Chucked the glute band on. And then had two people, Tim and Mattia, who saw a post about me doing Everesting on the Adelaide Everesting group. Decided to come out, join for a repeat, which is awesome. I've also got Cam with me. He's coming. I don't know. His bike's being noisy. His bike's always noisy. But Cam wants to hit casual 4,000 meters today. So we'll see how that goes. Yeah, just keeping it nice and consistent. Last rep was a little bit slower, but that was obviously with having a break and starting up again, so not too far off anyway, which is good. But yeah, shoulders getting sore holding the camera. And here's Cam. Here he is.
Yo.
Car's been pretty good, except for one wanker cut right past us. Other than that, everyone's been wicked. All right, rep number 12. I think it's pretty safe to say this is something you only get with Australian Everestings, let alone Australian hills. Hey buddy, what are you doing? What are you doing? You gotta get off the road. You gotta get off the road, buddy. You can't stay there, come on. Come on, off you get.
So 12 repeats in, 12 done, 3.5 hours of riding so far. Feeling, well, good, really good. Like, as you can see, I was just feeling pretty damn positive. I think by then I'd have about 7 people ride with me. 5 guys that I knew, and then of course Tim and Mattia that literally came out that had done Everestings themselves and was like, yeah, cool, we're gonna go out and do a repeat with Josh to help him, because they know it can be a very mentally tough thing. So that was just great to have them come out. Like, honestly, that was ridiculous. Had a break at the 10 mark, which was pretty much exactly 3 hours in. Just got off the bike, filled the bottles, like I said, put the glute band on, just stretched a little bit, got straight back on the bike, and just kept powering through. So just powering through those laps. Yeah, just the sunshine came out. Once the sun rose and I was with people, yeah, I think I'd only done, still by this time now, maybe 2 repeats, 3 repeats by myself. which is absolutely crazy to think about, to think that I've only done that in 12 repeats already. But yeah, feeling good. And as you're about to see, things only got crazier from there, really. Like the amount of people that came out, well, you'll see right now.
And then we had a squad. Yeah, talk about that. Power in numbers, or something like that. Like, I don't know. Surely there's some kind of drafting effect happening here. Woo. Lucky number 13. All right, rep 17. Cracked the 3,000. Well into it now. Almost at the halfway point. Well, kind of close enough. Close enough to count it. Solid group going. Lots of people out today, which is awesome. Feeling all right. Just getting food in when I can. Yeah, staying hydrated. Getting warmer now, that's for sure. Getting warmer now. All the cyclists though. Everybody. All right, vest is finally off. Repeat number 18. We'll rest when we hit 20. We got Toby, Cam still hanging on. We got Paddy joined. So 4 of us just hitting tidy repeats all the way up. And then just absolutely hammering the descents like absolute madmen. Like that. And maybe not that, like, that was a bit hairy. That was a bit sketchy. Anyway, number 18. Wait, number 18 or number 19? There's 19. Sick. That was 18. 19. And then one more makes 20. And then we rest, eat some food. Yeah. All right. It is 11:15. We've not just finished. We have finished repeat number 20. It is like kind of halfway. Feeling good. Got my band on. Getting all things going. Doing some stretching. Getting as much food in as I can. Got a packet of chips going. I've slammed some cookies my mum just brought. Slammed some pancakes Loz made me. Gels, bars, all that during the riding. Just having some real food now. The boys feeling good. Yeah. Feeling real good. And the real cheer squad. That's it. Yeah. Everyone's here. Perfect timing as well, right here for break time, which is good. Car's full of food, water, everything's good to go. Yeah, you know, I'm feeling all right. Woo! Yeah.
Okay, and just like that, 20 repeats done and dusted. Halfway through, close enough to halfway through what was planned to be my Everest. Like I knew roughly, well actually, let's talk about the hill. So the segment I'm riding, the Strava segment, because you pretty much need to base your Everesting off of a Strava segment, because that is essentially what the Everesting website uses to verify your Everesting, is essentially how many repeats of a Strava segment, which is obviously a set point and end location, start and end location, sorry, and you know it's the same distance, it's the same elevation, so as long as you ride that segment over and over and over again, which is why in the earlier clip I was talking about how I always made sure I went sort of almost past the end of the street, just to make sure I would always get that segment distance. And same thing when I get to the top of the hill, which I'll show you guys later on, I always ride sort of past where I know the segment ends, just to make sure, because imagine if I rode all the way up, cut a lap short, missed out on a whole repeat just because my GPS didn't actually technically register me doing that segment. That would suck, and that's something you should really research in. So the hill, Mount Osman is the segment, Beaumont side is the technical side because there's 2 sides to the hill. So Mount Osman, Beaumont side, it is 2.25 kilometers long, average gradient of 9.7%. and it gives me 220 meters every time I climb it. Now that 220 meters is the Strava data, and that, like I said, is what the Everesting site works off of. In the second video, we'll get a bit more technical about what my Garmin was saying versus what I technically should have been climbing, but of course your Garmin is recording everything you're doing throughout the entire ride. So over 15 hours of riding, it's going to be a little bit out of whack. It's allowed to be a little bit out of whack, that's for sure. So 20 repeats in, ridden this hill essentially half the time that I need to do, or half as many repeats as I need to do, and feeling really good. As I look back and I'm like, man, like I was just feeling good. It just felt like a good ride. As stupid as it sounds, or as crazy as it sounds, I stopped at 20 repeats, exactly 5 hours and 55 minutes of riding time. And it was, as the story shows, 11:16. So it only stopped for just under 20 minutes in total across that whole time of, just riding. Huge shout out to Cam and Toby for coming and doing multiple repeats with me. Like, oh my God, like Cam, I think, did about 13 or 14 repeats. Toby did 10. That's ridiculous, guys. Like, that is huge. Just to come out, even just to dedicate that time to come out and just ride the same hill. It's not even like, it's not like you're going out for a nice scenic ride. You're just riding the same hill over and over again. Trust me. I know. So yeah, huge shout out to those guys for coming out. Like, honestly, it was just so nice to have you guys with me for that huge block, especially early on when, I needed to just keep that morale up and stay positive, which I did. It was just nothing but positive vibes. Everyone that came out, we were riding with a group of, I think, 7 or 8 of us at one point. It was just mental. And I wish I pulled the GoPro out more and got more footage, but I was just sort of enjoying it and just really just vibing off of the good vibes of doing this and having it happen not like I thought it was, really. Honestly, I thought it was going to be a lot of just head hung down low, sweat dripping. Don't get me wrong, it started to get warm when the sun came out, but just, by myself, groveling, like grinding up a hill in my lowest gear and being like, oh, I wish I had more gears, and like just weaving across the road and having points where I'm like, oh, I need to get out of the saddle because my bum's so sore, and oh, my legs are so sore, I can't stay out of the saddle, and having someone there to be like, come on, Josh, you need to keep going, because I was struggling. It was just a group ride. Whenever I was with people, it's just like, yeah, sweet, let's just keep ticking over. Like, I kept to my pace, they kept to my pace. I'll talk about pacing in the second video because I mentioned it a bit in some of the clips. And yeah, so just feeling really good. Halfway through it, 20 repeats done, got off the bike. My mum had just rocked up, which was huge. I had Wags, and not Wags from before, Wags and Luke from the Team PMA Guest Picks coming out. They came out just purely just to come out. They weren't even riding, they just came out to support, which was huge. So they timed it perfectly. They all got there at the right time. So we had a bit of a break. As you saw, Cam and Toby just chilling on the ground. I made the executive choice to not stop standing. If I sat down, I would probably start to seize up. So I chucked the glute band on, kept just, pushing the knees out, squatting, side steps, just crab walks, all that sort of stuff, getting as much food as I can. I think by now, I started to get into some of the Coke and the chips and some of the lollies, as well as obviously some of the food like cookies and the pancakes that Loz made for me. Before that, it'd been just purely the Veloforte nutrition that I had, the Veloforte cycling nutrition that I was actually given, which in theory, and I'll talk about this as well, is also real food. It's real food. It's not just like, simple sugar bars and gels. They're actually real food bars, which was a huge plus, which is why I think I was actually able to just go so long without needing to stop to have, real food, which is what a lot of people told me, that you need to stop a lot of times, have a lot of real food like sandwiches, burgers, pizza, chips, any sort of real food, they kept saying, because you can't rely on cycling nutrition. But I kind of knew that I wasn't just going to have your typical cycling nutrition. And like I said, I'll talk about this again because it's just, there's a lot to break down in that. But that pretty much wraps up the first half. That's 20 repeats done, feeling amazing. The sun was out, only good vibes. Like I said, I do it, but like, definitely is still a huge challenge. And the second half was, the second half was the second half. The first half was the first half that you just saw. The second half is still to come. And so thank you. Firstly, huge thank you for watching this. I hope it's been entertaining and somewhat informative and insightful and motivating for you to do it yourself, like that'd be wicked. Honestly, I've already put it out there. The next person that does an Everesting here in Adelaide, I'm going to come out and do a half Everest because I want to get that badge. Just, you know, why not? Yeah, literally, why not do it? Part 2, following the second half of this, and of course, other stuff coming as well. If you have any, because I'll be posting this before I make the remaining video and following videos, if you do have any particular questions or anything about Everesting or what you want to know, equipment, mindset I've kind of talked about, nutrition, pacing, which I'll talk about in the next video, let me know down below in the comments, anything you want to know. Yeah, let me know if you've done an Everesting. Let me know if your first half was as exciting and fun and as positive as my first half. Yeah, I heard some horror stories while doing an Everesting, which wasn't the greatest motivational thing to have, but kind of I was like, oh, well, at least mine's not going like that, rain and niggles and pains and stuff like that. Body was feeling good. Honestly, body was feeling really good. But thank you again, guys. I'll wrap this up here. Like, comment, share, subscribe, all those YouTube things that I need to refresh my brain on what I need to say. Thanks. Cheers. See you in the next one.